Land ho! Oh, never mind. It's just Johanna. Hi, Johanna.
You're so lucky that I'm just finally excited to be on rental reviews. It's been my dream. I mean, I've been, making little cameos here and there, but to finally be on a review is so exciting.
Well, good news and bad news. Bad news, rental reviews was canceled like months ago.
What?
The good news is you're on the new show that's totally original called Talking About Tapes on the Hack the Movies channel.
You mean after all this time, it gets canceled and I wasn't on a single episode?
Well, you had bit parts.
I wasn't on any review!
So Ghost Ship. Let's talk about Ghost Ship. So we picked a really good time to review this movie. It's finally, at long last, gonna be on Blu-ray. But we don't need that because I have the nice VHS here. And actually, I think the poster might have been ripped off from another movie, or maybe this just isn't an original idea. I actually like the poster.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The skull on the ship, but then the tagline is See Evil. S-E-A. And you know what? It worked. Me and my grandfather went to see this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the poster and I was just like, you know what? I want to see that.
So this was made by Dark Castle. They're still around. They pitched themselves as like remaking like William Castle's old films. They wanted to like give like darker, edgier touches to old movies, so they did House on Haunted Hill, which is a remake I like. It's very, very different, but in a good way. It's not like doing the same thing.
It was okay.
13 Ghosts.
I loved 13 Ghosts.
I don't think I've seen the original, or I don't remember the original, but I have the remake. I have the remake.
Of course you do.
With Tony Shalhoub. But this, ironically, is not a remake, even though there is an old movie called Ghost Ship, which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
They're still making movies, but they kind of branched out to do whatever. They're not just horror anymore. It's kind of like WWE films. They were making movies for the wrestlers, and that wasn't working, so then they just started, like Oculus is released by WWE.
Yeah, which is, it's actually like a decent movie too.
So. No, it's a really, because they didn't make it, they just distributed it, but it's like, wait, what? So Ghost Ship is here. You really wanted to review this.
I like it. It has a lot of problems, but like I see the potential that they had for it. And
you still like it?
Yeah.
Oh no, I liked it when I was 12, but watching this by the way, I want to tell you how I watched it. I ripped the VHS.
Oh my god.
I put it like digitally, and then I put it on my 4K like 60-inch TV.
How was that?
I'm watching a VHS rip on my 4K 60-inch TV.
How was that?
It was just not the way it's meant to be watched.
Wow.
Yeah, I liked it when it came out. You were talking about potential. I did look into this. This was a very different movie, like a very different script.
In the original, yeah.
It was really a rip-off of The Shining, pretty much. Which they still kind of rip off The Shining in the movie. But yeah, it was going to be more like psychological, kind of like, The Shining, it is supernatural, but you can kind of maybe suggest like, oh, maybe is it in their head? Is it cabin fever?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I think maybe the cast signed on based off that script.
Well, was it Juliana?
Margulies,
yeah.
She apparently left ER. I couldn't find it. Someone said she like shit on this movie afterwards. I couldn't find video or anything. I found a quote from some interview where she said she left to do a horror movie that wasn't very good. That's the most I could find. But yeah, Juliana Margulies, or as I know her, the ER chick, left ER for this.
I remember she was in Scrubs.
She was?
She was in one of the episodes. She was like that very, she was a lawyer.
Oh,
and
right.
She was gonna sue, Turk.
Okay.
That one
I
dude
remember
with the
that
tennis
now.
and yeah.
Yeah, but I can see from her point of view, like George Clooney leaves and, well, he had a little trouble with Batman and Robin, but like out of sight in all these movies, he's doing really well, and she's like, now it's my turn. Ghost Ship. I will say when you start up this VHS tape, you get the trailer for Friday After the Next, the third Friday film, and you get a commercial for AOL 8.0. And you can do so much stuff on 8.
God.
Like, here, let's play the commercial. This is all the stuff AOL 8.0 can give you.
What's on your list of favorite things about AOL?
AOL has kept me in contact with all my friends, my family.
You've got mail.
I get to share pictures with my sisters.
You've got pictures.
I like to chat, gab, gossip, whatever.
It's everything I need, all in one place.
The people at AOL help me do everything. No one has what AOL has.
I kind of like the credit sequence. I remember me and my grandfather like laughing in the theater because it's not like, ooh, spooky. It sounds
it's just like
Love Boat and like pink font. I'm like, that's really clever. We see a boat.
The music's nice.
Yeah, the music's nice. We see it's like in the 40s, I think.
I think so.
Was it World War II or World War One? It was one of those.
I think it was one.
It might have been World War
I think it was one.
Yeah. So it starts there. We see a bunch of people. They're dancing. There's an Italian. Oh, they're Italian.
Yeah.
Because it was an Italian cruise liner.
Yeah, there you go.
And then there's an Australian little girl there for some reason on the Italian cruise liner. I guess her parents travel a lot.
No, her parents were already in America, she mentions
Oh,
later on in
yeah.
the movie. And she's just kind of going over, but I don't understand like how you go from Australia to like somewhere in Italy by
Or maybe she was
yourself
supposed to be British. I don't know. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Regardless, just moving from there to Italy or
Yes.
wherever you had to go.
Yes.
It's still a little.
So she's on the boat and she has like this old toy and she's typing, "I'm so bored."
Yeah.
And Italian lady's like winking to some of the people working there, and it's whatever. And then she starts like dancing with the captain because the captain sees she's like lonely and whatever. And I think the started my Emily Browning crush when I was a kid.
Same though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like I think we're the same age, me and her.
She's 31 now.
Yeah, we're the same age.
So, okay.
But this is the first movie I've seen her in. She's gone on to be, was she in Sucker Punch and like a bunch of other
Sucker
movies?
Punch. She was.
She hasn't been in a lot of good movies, I want to stress, but she's been in movies.
She was in what was it? Was it Series of Unfortunate Events?
The movie,
Jim Jim Carrey.
Yeah. She was in a bunch of the stuff.
Yeah, she was in a few things. Yeah, she was also in American Gods.
Right, I didn't watch that show.
First season, good. Second season,
Yeah, I heard people left because the show. Anyway, there's one scene from this movie everyone remembers, and it's this scene. So everyone's dancing, and you see like a hand pull a lever, which tightens a cable, and then the cable snaps off, and it slices everyone in half on the dance floor. But then it's kind of confusing. It's cool how they did it, because like you see everyone's frozen for like a second.
Yeah.
And then like
they were in shock.
Yeah, and then their clothes fall.
The thing is, I don't understand what the leveling was for it. Like, did it go up?
Yeah, that's
because some people are getting cut off at like the waist. Some people are getting cut off here.
It's a really awesome scene, but then you think about it and you're like, wait. So it's everyone on the dance floor. Half, little girl and captain. Up, cuts the head off, goes down, half.
Unless it like kind of went up on like a slant.
Maybe, I don't know, but like
I can understand it once he bends down, but it still doesn't make sense.
It's still like a horrifying scene because they're all just like they're not like screaming.
Lady like kind of grabbing herself.
Yeah, it's like not like quality wise on par with Save a Private Ryan, but when she's like trying to put her entrails back in, I was like, ah. And like it is a great way to. It's a great open kill. The captain's like head falling off is awesome, and it really like gets you in a really oh my god this is gonna be awesome mood. And then the rest of the movie happens.
Yeah.
Nothing in the movie lives up to that scene. They blew their load too early. Nothing lives up to it. It's so good.
No, there's a few scenes where you're just kind of like.
Doubt it. So we meet a tugboat crew, and the main guy me and Newt just did End of Days. Gabriel Byrne, who was the Satan in End of Days, also the dad in Hereditary. He is the tugboat captain, and it was going to be Brian Cox, who is the original Hannibal Lecter, the bad guy from X-Men 2. Smart move on his part, skipping this movie. That is a very smart move.
Didn't he do something else? He went on to do something else instead of this.
I don't know what he did instead of this, but he did a ton of... He might have done X-Men 2. This is 2002,
Maybe.
right?
I could have sworn I've read something that instead of doing this, he decided to go somewhere... I think it was The Ring.
Oh, yeah, he really lucked out.
I think it was The Ring.
I don't even like The Ring that much, but if we're going to say, like, picking horror movies, he hit the jackpot.
The Ring's great. I love The Ring.
So rewatching this, I was like, oh yeah, Carl Urban's in this.
Yep.
So for years, Carl Urban was just that guy.
in
he would
movies in
show
the
up in
background.
movies. Yeah. Now he's Carl Urban, but back then he was just that dude you would see in movies. And this is the first thing I saw Juliana Margulies in that wasn't ER.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember being like, why isn't she in ER? She's like patching up a thing, and it's like the whole like, oh, you're crazy, we gotta leave it behind. She's like, no, I can do it because I'm smart. So they come in, they patch up the ship, and then I guess they make a lot of money, and they're hanging out. This guy wants to hire the crew, and he's played by Desmond Harrington. But he basically says like, hey, I found a boat, and I don't know its value. I know you guys are great, but I'll take my business elsewhere, because he's like a pilot, I think. And he says,
I think that's what he said.
Yeah, and he keeps like flying over it, and then like right away the one guy is all like, I got a fiance waiting for me at home, and you're like, dead.
Yeah.
They're like, it's just, there's so many obvious signs that this guy's gonna die. It's so obvious. And then we get my favorite thing in this movie, the I'll Stand song.
I'll stand, not crawling, not falling down.
It's not even that good of a song. It's stuck in my head.
Oh,
It's stuck in my head right now.
It's been stuck in my head like
Did you
for
watch it?
weeks. Because before I watched it, I was doing work in here and I was capturing it on the computer.
Oh, no.
So I had it like blasting as I'm like doing work, and I'm like, oh, I'll stand, not crawling. So they find the ocean liner, and I love the name of this liner,
Of course you do.
the Antonio Garza. It was like a famous boat that went missing, and like the captain like knows about it, and he's like, oh, this is like the most famous.
Yeah, because everybody's been looking for it apparently. And
Yes,
no one
yes.
can find it.
And like, who knows what's on there, because there
Yeah.
were a lot of rich and wealthy people on there, so who knows what stuff they had
They also
on
don't
there.
know what happened to the people because they all disappeared.
Yeah. So then they're walking around the ship, and then the clock chimes. Is it a ghost clock? That clock wouldn't work after all those years, right? Who's winding up that clock? Like, wouldn't it rust? They're at sea. It would rust.
I mean, the entire thing they're talking about as they're walking through, like, hey, be careful, follow me, watch your step, and then...
Yeah. By the way, how is there even stuff on the tables after decades of being at sea? Like, it got into a storm at one point, I want to assume.
Plot?
But we get a callback to the welcome aboard toy. Oh, no, it was I'm so bored, and then it changes to welcome aboard.
But it's still B-O-R-E-D.
Yeah.
It's not B-O-A-R-D.
So, who's doing that?
Ghost?
But they're not doing, like, the characters aren't seeing it, the audience are. Why did they,
Spooky.
but like, why did the ghosts do that?
Spooky. They know we're watching. I
No one
don't know.
no one even ever finds it. And then we find out the ghost can just appear and send messages, so what was that, like, the little girl warning them?
I don't think that's a warning. I think it was just supposed to be like a clever, like, ha, it's spooky.
It makes no sense.
Introduction to the spooky, I guess. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So who is it? Carl Urban falls through the thing,
Yeah.
right? And she sees Emily Browning, who, like, does she smile? She kind of gives, like,
No, she's just kind of like,
yeah, which I
kinda-
guess is creepy and stuff, but then, like, when you find out her deal later in the movie, when you think about it, like, shouldn't she be like, get out of the ship, go home?
you would think.
Yeah,
She does it later.
Yeah! Wouldn't she do that right away? So Gabriel Byrne, like, tells a story in this about another ghost ship, like an old ghost ship with, like, sails.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it sailed by itself for, like, hundreds of miles into the Mediterranean Sea and whatnot. And it's like, the story he tells sounds interesting, and I kind of want to see that movie compared to the schlock this movie turns into. And
In general, there's a lot of things that happen with this movie that I was just like, I'd rather watch that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, reading about the Shining stuff, I'm like, the Shining on a boat? I would have loved that compared to this. And then it's weird, the movie tries to fake us with, like, a shark scare.
oh yeah, when they're under the water looking at the damage on the ship.
Yeah, so the pilot who hired them, he's just, like, hanging out on the boat, and it's framed like Jaws, and then, like, you're like, oh no, is it a shark?
Also, why wouldn't he know that they were there? He had to have seen them putting the equipment on and then going under.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes, oh, I know. It's not a very good movie. But one character thing I like in this movie, so it's hard to write characters, like multiple characters. I think it helps when you give them, like, little quirks to make them memorable. Not that it always works out, but I like the engineer, the Spanish engineer. he's like talking to a picture, and you're like, all right, is it like his mom or his wife or his girlfriend or his kids? And it's a picture of his car from back home.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty fucking great. That was better than anything I could have written. But he's like upset, but now they're all happy because, you know, they think it's this huge payday. So getting back to the guy who has a fiance, he walks around the ship and he sees the elevator shaft.
Yeah. Also, why were they splitting up?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Is that a thing you do? Especially after one fell through the floor, you think they'd all want to be together?
I don't know. And then they find the gold. Well, did they find the gold already?
We're getting that. We're getting to that. But yeah, so the bald guy like looks down to the elevator shaft, and you're like, he's falling down that.
Doesn't he say like something like no way or something like that? He like makes it like a
something like that. It's just
not going down there or something.
There's times where that works, where you set up something and pay it back, but like this one, it's so obvious what's going to happen, and we know it's going to be him. Like, I guess a good example in the same genre, House on Haunted Hill. They find that machine that was supposed to turn people crazy or crazy people sane. Remember that, like, weird contraption thing?
Yes.
So all the characters see that in the beginning, and you know it's going to come back later, but you don't know how or who. And it's interesting. And then this movie, it's like, oh, that guy's clearly going to fall down. Like, now you're just waiting. You're not in suspense. You're just waiting for it to happen. Okay, so Juliana falls into the pool. Because she sees the ghost girl, right?
Yeah, the little girl scares her, and she falls backwards into the pool.
Right, and then she bleeds, and then the blood...
She hits her head.
Yeah.
And, like, the little bullet holes that are there, like, it kind of,
yeah, there's bullet holes in the pool, which has also been drained. Anyway, I guess it might have been drained in the beginning. Anyway,
No!
No, did they throw them in?
in general, like, the pool was filled when the whole thing originally happened.
Oh, okay.
It's just... what happened to the water? Because especially at this point, whatever, wouldn't there be water in there? Because, like, it's raining. Especially all during this movie, it's raining.
Who knows?
But whatever. It sucks, like, the blood from her head.
Yeah, so it's kind of like...
it.
So that happened in Hellraiser, where the guy bleeds, the floor absorbs it, and then his brother's demon monster comes out. Mm-hmm. And, like, in my head, I'm like, okay, that's a cool way to resurrect the ghost.
But, like, nothing happened.
No, the ghosts were already there.
It literally just filled up the pool. It showed people floating
and showed
around.
People's bodies.
That was it. And then she also mentioned how she found the bullet casing.
Yeah, by the way, when the guy, like, finds her and they're walking away, the camera, like, zooms over and it's already half filled. I'm like, do they not hear... Does ghost blood not have audio? But, like, I could see, like, that was a cool, like, way to bring them back to life, but they were already they were already fucking with toys and stuff and making clocks chime.
Maybe they just couldn't be seen yet.
I don't know. No, because you can see the girl.
Well, technically, she's different if...
Maybe.
Think of the actual story.
I guess.
Which we'll get into later, but the little girl, there's a reason that, like, she's able to do the things she can do because he, Yeah.
So,
I don't want to give it away.
In, like, this big container, they find the body of another tugboat crew.
Yeah,
because they're fresh, they said. Like,
yeah, I can bring up that again later, because I know why that's a thing.
Oh, okay, because from watching it the other day, I'm like, who are those guys? And I don't think it ever gets...
We can bring it up again later.
We'll bring it up. So
just remind me, but yeah.
There's a fresh dead crew on there, and they're thrown into a thing.
It was like the laundry room, I think it was, or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. But then they find these boxes, the one's shaking, and they open it up and it's full of rats.
Yeah. Why are they stuck in the... Whatever.
What have the rats been eating on the ship?
Why are they stuck in a box?
That's another good question.
Like,
but how?
There's no holes in the box.
Can someone tell us about ghost ships that are decades old? Like, can rats survive that long on ships? Like,
there's no food, so no, they would be dead.
I mean, are there like insects in the ocean that can fly there? I mean,
there's insects, but it's not going to be enough to like. Oh, hey, let's have all these rats survive, and they're not skinny. They're like.
Yeah, I don't think you would have enough nutrients, but it looks cool, I guess. They find like a ton of gold, and Juliana Margulies is like, I don't even care about the gold. We gotta leave. And then they go into a freezer, and they get scared by Carl Urban and the other guy, blonde guy.
Yeah.
And how did they know they were gonna walk to the freezer? How long were they in the freezer? See, I'm asking a lot of questions because a good movie would suck me in, and I would like suspend my disbelief and not analyze it, but now I'm just like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. and then the gold gets brought up, and suddenly no one gives a shit about the dead bodies anymore. Yeah. And that's actually one thing I'm like, I don't know, if I found a bunch of dead bodies, but then I found unmarked gold, probably would make me forget about the bodies a little bit. I can see that, so they're real excited for that. I think they say, like, it could be worth, like, 200 million each, maybe? So they decide to take the gold because the ship, we forgot to mention, the ship's, like, damaged, and
yeah,
it's
that's
sinking.
when we were talking about the shark scare.
Yeah,
that's why they went under, because they were assessing the damage.
Right,
and then
so
there's a giant tear in it.
The whole time they're thinking, how are we going to tug this? Our ship's broken, because their ship, like, got damaged because it ran into it. But now they find the gold, and they're like, well, screw the ship, we'll just take the gold home. And under maritime law and international waters, you're allowed to, I guess, as long as it's unmarked. And then we see the ghost propane, or the gas, it's like loosening up in the engine room, and then Ghost Girl's like, stop! Get off! And it's like, she can talk. Probably should have did that earlier, and then another ghost, like, spears her, like Goldberg.
He like, freaking tackles her off the side.
He's like, she, like, falls down, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then the poor Spanish guy, and the picture of his car, they blow up. And Juliana Margulies gets hit in the face with a giant explosion.
Yeah.
And, like, the way the way the explosion goes, and she goes like this, it looks like the girl gets blown up in Deep Blue Sea when the helicopter crashes. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but in my head it feels like it's the same exact scene.
No, I'm pretty sure like, they have their hands up and they're like, yeah.
So everyone's, like, upset. They're fighting. Carl Urban gets punched. And they all go their separate ways because they're upset. And, Carl Urban and his friend, they start eating cans of food that they found. And they apparently taste great.
Yeah.
So Ghost...
Because they checked to see if it was spoiled. And like, the other dared the other. Or no, they played rock, paper, scissors.
Right. And I guess one of the ghost powers is making old food taste good? Is that a ghost power? You see, ghosts...
hallucinating it? I don't know.
Because it turns out it's not food. It's actually maggots. Where did the flies come from to leave the maggot? Do the ghosts make maggots?
Maybe there was a hole in the can. I don't know.
If ghosts can create life, then I got a lot of questions for this movie. But no, I think that scare... Well, speaking of Gabriel Byrne, End of Days, there was a scare like that where the girl went to eat an apple and there were maggots, and then it turned into people.
I feel like a lot of the things in the movie, though, it's more... I guess I tried the psychological thing.
Yeah.
But it didn't work because
but like
ghost.
Isn't there like a maggot thing in Poltergeist? Finds the little girl's like quarters and finds her skeleton like hung up.
Hanging. Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Oh, do you not remember?
No. What did you just?
Oh, there was a gnat. It was just flying around.
Is it a ghost gnat?
Yeah.
Oh no, there's maggots in my drink. Jesus. It's a ghost. But then we cut back to Bald Guy, who's clearly going to die.
Yeah, looking at the Italian girl, and doesn't he say something like she has like nice tits or something like that?
Yeah, the Italian girl in the poster who was singing in the beginning is like nice tits, and he goes to the ballroom, and it's this amazing effect where it rebuilds itself, and he's clearly blue screened in, and it doesn't even look like his feet are touching the ground, and it looks, I don't know, how did you watch this movie? Did you watch this on like HBO Max or something?
Yeah, whatever the streaming thing was, I was watching.
Did it look good?
Look like in 2003 scene.
Okay, because it looks really bad on VHS.
I mean, you're also watching it on 4K on a freaking VHS rip, like.
And then she like starts dancing with him, and I think what did she say? He goes, "Oh yeah, can't cheat on your fiance with a dead girl." And he's like, "Look, I know I'm going crazy, but I'm gonna go with it." And
again, this is like with the whole thing where it's like a psychological thing, but like it doesn't work.
And it's clearly the bathroom girl from The Shining scene.
Yeah.
That's obviously what they're doing, but in some ways it's better. So Gabriel Byrne meets the ghost captain.
And they're drinking whiskey and stuff together
for
some reason.
Which, by the way, the whiskey was like open when did the ghost open the whiskey and pour it before he got in the room.
Yeah, the glass was already sitting there.
It was already set up, but
right?
I'm like, has that just been there for I wouldn't drink that. I feel like it wouldn't be good. And then we get a little inconsistency because then Juliana Margulies finds the necklace on the little girl.
Yeah, she takes the necklace off of her.
And she goes to give it to her, but then it goes through her hand. So it's like, okay, the ghost can't touch stuff. Like 5 seconds before or after, we see the ghost captain pick up a glass of water or a glass of whiskey and start drinking. It's like, well, what the fuck one is it? Which ghosts are allowed to do what power?
I guess just the captain, because then there's a scene later on, also things go through, so...
I mean, there's one person later on that's also very confusing, but, like, the regular ghosts, the simple ghosts, not the evil people or whatever comes later, like, it's not clear what they can and can't do. It's very confusing. But the captain reveals to Gabriel Byrne, he's like, hey, we got the gold from another ship. And he was like, how many survivors? It was another ghost ship. And he's like, there was...
No, it wasn't another ghost ship. It was another ship that sunk.
Oh, okay.
And they found the wreckage.
Okay.
And there was one survivor.
Okay. Oh,
That's
yeah, you're right. And then Gabriel Byrne looks at it and he goes, oh my God! And like right away, maybe you don't know who it is.
You can figure it out.
You can kind of figure it out if you know this movie. I can see how you can get confused because the movie's not very good at setting things up, or it sets things up too obviously. At this point, it's like, okay, now this is some kind of whodunit sort of thing. You can kind of figure it out, but he like leaves, and then we cut back to the bald guy with the Italian girl, and he wasn't lying. Her tits are great. That actress is fucking hot as hell.
Oh my God.
She didn't do a lot of American movies. Like I looked her up. For research, and
I bet.
Oh, don't act like you don't agree with me. You're just not gonna say it on camera.
I didn't look her up, but like, yeah, she has nice boobs. Why wouldn't I say that?
Huh?
What?
So yeah, that guy's 100% right. Major babe, and she's just like stripping and luring him. And again, it's like...
Oh, and then the ship's not pretty anymore either. As she's walking through.
Yeah, I guess
so it's just like, oh, hot lady, and everything's decayed and falling apart. And she's just like, haha, getting naked.
Yeah. I mean, the ghost knows what she... Like, you saw those... Look, you saw those tits. You're looking at those tits. You're not looking at anything else. So those were special magic ghost tits that draw your eye a little bit more. So we cut back to the little girl. And she's talking about how, like, some ghosts are marked, and then others aren't.
It's the ghosts... Well, everybody on that ship is marked because they have sin. She doesn't have sin. That's what it's supposed to be.
Everyone has sin on it?
That's what they said. But I think it's because, like, she's the only child, and
oh, I guess just because, like, they're rich and powerful, but I'm like, I assumed there was, like, maybe some guys who worked on lower decks who were just trying to get... I refuse... Where did this ghost gnat come from? I refuse to believe a ship full of Italian people didn't have one innocent person on it. Okay? They're probably all guilty. What we don't know is that it was Mussolini's family reunion.
Oh my God, stop.
So Gabriel Byrne's trying to, like, find people, and he's getting haunted by the engineer. Is he evil, or is it a ghost pretending to be him?
So I think it was him, because he was also marked. And he, like, died.
What evil thing did he do? Are they all just evil because they wanted the gold?
I don't think it's, like, evil. I think it's just, you know, I guess...
What religion?
I'm just gonna bring up Catholic crap, because just think about the Ten Commandments, and think about how easily you can sin with those.
Yeah.
Like, thou shalt not lie.
Were they all,
oops!
Were they all just not baptized?
Yeah. Except for the little girl.
Yeah. Oh, well, a boat full of Italians wasn't baptized? I find that very, very, probable. You'll never believe it, Johanna. Nice tits Italian lady lures the bald guy to the elevator shaft. And by the way, I'm assuming he can see it's a shaft. And he's like, oh, she's standing right at
He was just thinking about another shaft.
God damn it. She was standing in the elevator shaft, which he knows is like a pit. And he's all like, yup. He like leans forward, not like, hey, come back here. He leans into her.
Well, number one, I don't know why you would go up to anybody and go, huh?
Yeah, he was like gonna hug her from behind.
Like, why can't you just walk and go, hey? Like, I don't, like, stand still and go, okay. Like, he, like, full on went like this.
Yeah, about to tackle her.
Like,
he was like,
what's with the tackling? Tackles a little girl, tackles a naked lady. Like,
Bill Goldberg was an executive producer on this movie. So he falls down the shaft, and then the young lady ghost turns into an old lady ghost for like a second.
But no one else does that.
And we find out later that she never lived to grow old. But it's funny because it's barely on camera, but it's on the back of the VHS along with Dead Ghost Girl.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, they were like, this'll sell it. Because none of the ghosts look scary in this. This is as scary as it gets. But yeah, like I said, it's just The Shining, but nowhere near as good as the bathroom scene in The Shining. So he's dead, sadly. Rest in peace.
Right, back to Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah, so Gabriel Byrne
getting attacked by his old roommate.
Yeah, he finds Juliana Margulies, but then he's hallucinating that it's...
he, like, steps, like, into her, so then he, like, looks like her now. I don't know. I was just kind of like, sure.
So they, like, beat the shit out of him, and I think they throw him in the aquarium.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, he'll be safe here, and it's like, with everything else that's going on, why would you put him in something where literally it could flood? Like, what?
Yeah, well, why would you
seal
put
him in?
Yeah. Didn't you find, like, a tank full of dead bodies earlier? Maybe this wasn't the smartest idea.
Or maybe you can just, I don't know, find, like, handcuffs or something and just, like, have them, you know.
I don't know where he would find handcuffs.
Who knows? It's on that ship, like...
Wait! They're sailors! They can tie knots!
Yeah, they can just tie him up and have him go with them.
I imagine even if you're not sailing a sail ship, like, you would have to know how to tie knots if you're in the water a lot. I feel like that's a very useful thing you would need.
Well, in general, you have to tie your boat to the dock.
Yeah.
So you have to know.
You should know a knot. Anyway, Juliana Margulies finds Bald Guy, and he didn't just fall down the elevator shaft, he got impaled by cables. And now, because this movie's rated R, the beginning's, like, horrifyingly gory, why didn't we see that shot of it, like, bursting through him? I don't remember if it was in there, but I feel like that should have been, like, the coolest.
You just hear thunk. And
Yeah.
later on, you see when she finds him, you just kind of see that.
Which,
he's impaled.
again, the thunk or whatever would be fine if you're trying to be, like, a classier horror movie, but the way this movie opens up with people getting severed in half,
Maybe they just spent all their budget on that scene.
Yeah, maybe there's a lot of CGI in this movie. Maybe they couldn't CGI the cables going through them. So Emily Browning shows up, and this, I can't believe, god damn it, this scene is so stupid. She does, like, a Star Trek mind meld with Juliana Margulies. She's like, I have
She, touches her, like, here.
Yeah.
Is it her heart?
I can't.
Wait, I'm trying to think of the scene.
No.
I think it's supposed to be her heart.
They're in the past now, and they're watching everything that happened. So, like, everyone on the dance floor died, and then there were bad guys with guns, like the crewmen were bad. And they gathered everyone up, and they shot everyone. And then they broke into the room after they killed everyone on the ship, and they're like, oh yeah, gold. And then one guy turns on them, and then Italian chick shows up and turns on him, and then another guy shows up and telekinetically makes a hook come off a thing and stab her in the face, which is pretty brutal, by the way.
Yeah. You still see her twitching and stuff? Ooh.
That's another thing where, like, you kind of just see her, like, fly off screen. You're like, all right, that was a classy way to get around it. But then it cuts back and it's just out of her. Like, ugh. And then he touches her hand and marks her, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's
that little hook mark.
And it's the pilot. Yeah. It's the pilot who hired them.
You also left out the little girl dying.
Right, the crew kills her too, I guess.
They also, the one guy who was super nice to the girl when she did the I'm so bored, they show her watching him get his neck
he gets his
slit.
Like, so there is, like, a lot of, like, really graphic stuff in this. And I feel like it would be better in, like, a more, like, mature, serious horror film instead of fucking ghost shit.
But then I guess they take the little girl into the room and then they shut the door, and I don't even want to know what happened.
Well, obviously they hung her. Wow.
Yeah.
They hung her. But the whole time this is happening, you think there would be, like, sad music playing. Like, I'm gonna hate myself for comparing...
in the holy walls. And I'm like, what?
I'm gonna hate myself for comparing this, but, like, when the Nazis stormed the ghetto on Schindler's List, they, like, you know, it wasn't playing cool dance music. That's what happens and go, like, the whole time.
It wasn't whole dance music. It was like...
The music's like...
No, it was, I don't know how to describe it, whatever. It's very, like... I don't know, like, kind of like the I'll Stand song, whatever, but more of the,
Was it the lounge version of I'll Stand?
Yes. No.
So if you're, okay, guys, if you're telling, like, if you're doing, like, a horror movie, and you're showing, like, horrific stuff, and you want the audience to be really creeped out by it, you have two choices, or three. You could do no music, which is hard, but you could do it. You do creepy music, which is the easiest, Or you could do music that's so not creepy and happy and cheery that, like, it's creepy by comparison. Like, there's stuff in The Shining where they're playing, like, old-fashioned music. This, they're playing, like, that weird track, and it's like, I kind of, like, was, like, bobbing my head to it and stuff. Like, no.
People are dying.
People getting their necks slashed and little girls being, like, hung up. I shouldn't be going...
Anyway, hold on. I want to go back to what we were talking about earlier with the people who were found, the fresh crew.
Okay, yeah, tell me about the crew.
So, remember how when they went down under the water and they found out that the ship was sinking because it was, like, ripped up? So, the pilot dude, he was looking for other crews.
Oh.
So, they were just another crew that he found, but they couldn't fix the ship, so he just killed them.
Oh, does he say that?
I don't remember, but I think it's alluded to.
Huh.
But I know he mentions that, like, you know, I've, like, in his, like, deep and serious voice, because all of a sudden he's talking deep and serious.
By the way, his revelation of what he is so stupid. But, okay, so that was kind of confusing, because then it's like, wait, why could... So is he trying to kill the crew in this movie who can help him, or the other ghost doing it?
So...
Is he pulling...
I think he's pulling the strings, because, like, he's technically, like, in charge. I think he's some type of demon. Which, again, like, I like the whole idea of the story.
If he's the one who's sabotaging, like, the ship and everything?
Okay, so here's the thing. So because remember, they were about to just leave. So he's like, fuck this, like, I'm gonna get them to repair the ship. Which is kind of dumb in retrospect if you're thinking about it. Because, like, why would you sink the tugboat? But whatever.
Right.
But they end up, you know, repairing it to at least get it to not drift off somewhere.
Man, you put so much thought into this movie, more than...
No, I paid attention. Like, it's a very guilty pleasure. Like, I think it's a trash movie, yeah. But if it's on, I'm doing.
No, everything you're saying is right. I think me bobbing my head to mass
you're just not paying attention. You're just
made
like,
me
yeah.
like I'm focusing on all the stupid stuff, like them trying to do The Shining but with big tits, like stuff like that. Is distracting me from actually paying attention to the minor details, but that's good. I'm glad I know that now.
Distract Tony with boobs. That's all you need.
Yeah, so they're trying to fix the ship, and Carl Urban gets sucked into the gears. Mm-hmm. Did that just happen, or was that a ghost?
I don't think that's clear.
Because
I like to think it was a ghost thing, because technically they only needed one person to repair the ship, because I think they mentioned that.
Yeah, but like, if you're this guy and fixing this boat is important...
Well, he also needed to collect souls.
You have him fix the hole in the boat first, goddammit. Juliana Margulies goes up to the blonde guy, who I keep forgetting is in the movie. Carl Urban's
He's also kind of like a love interest, too.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. Because that was very bizarre. And she's all like, that guy... He was here, he killed all those people, and the dude's like, that guy's like 20-something, what are you talking about? And she's like, he's evil, and then he shows up, and it's like, oh, was anyone talking about me? He doesn't actually say that, but I actually...
Basically, though?
It's not as bad as fucking Devil's Advocate when Al Pacino shows up and says, speak of the devil! And it's like, we get it.
He's the devil, get
it? Yeah. So she's like, keep him distracted, I'm gonna go fix the whatever. So blonde guy's like alone with him, and they manage to get this ancient ship to like start working. And he's all like, I better go check on her. And blonde guy's like, no, you should stay here. And like he goes full on, he changes his whole like composure, and he's all like, you're
you're pathetic.
And at first I thought he was gonna be like, cause you are immortal, or you humans are so weak. Instead he's like, You're a fucking beta! You're taking orders from a woman, you loser! That's me and you were like, wait, was there a love interest between him and Juliana Margulies? Because I don't know what the demon's talking about. He's like, the way you follow her, and blah, 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 and I can make your dreams come true, and she can be yours. I'm like, was he into her?
It's like never a thing. I mean, you kind of see him like at her a few times with her, but I thought it was just like, oh yeah, she's a badass. I never was just like, oh.
No, it's because she's the only woman he's seeing every day. Like, trust me. Yeah, so that was bizarre. If you told me that guy had a thing for Carl Urban, I would believe it because he shares all his scenes with him and they had really good chemistry. Stop it, Ghost! Get your demon flies out of here. This isn't Hereditary. Don't send your demon flies. This is a different game. This is the other Not End of Days, not Hereditary. This is the third or second chronologically Gabriel Byrne demon movie. He's in 3. Anyway, so he shoots the demon guy and leaves. And then, of course, Juliana Margulies is like, oh no, the guy's dead, and blah, blah, blah. And then...
Oh, by the way, we skipped over Gabriel Byrne dying.
Oh, that's right! We totally forgot about it!
Because it's just... when it happened, I was just kind of like...
You're right. Oh, let's put him in this aquarium. What's the worst thing that can happen? Of course, they show up and he's just drowned. And he has the picture of the dude.
Yeah, you see a float.
Yeah, he's just like, help! So he's dead. So blonde guy's all like, man, I killed that demon guy. And she's like, I don't think you could just shoot that guy. And he's all like, oh, we gotta get out of here. We gotta fix blah, blah, blah. And then finally, Juliana, it's Terminator 2.
Yeah. When
the T-1000 is pretending to be Serica. But like, to the movie's credit, Juliana Margulies, because she is stunning and brave and also strong and very smart, she's like, hey, you haven't asked me about how Carl Urban's doing. And that just makes the demon look stupid. You think if the demon wants to put up the charade, he would have done that?
That was another thing. You got to see his, like, ripped up parts just laying on the bottom of the water.
Yeah.
Why was it laying at the bottom, not
How long
floating?
does it take for a dead body to float?
But it's like pieces, right? Wouldn't like some like especially like skin pieces kind of
I imagine it would. I don't know. I don't know about the buoyancy of dead bodies. I know dead bodies float, I just don't know when.
Whatever.
Yeah, so then the guy, he Terminator shapeshifts into himself and he's yelling at her and he's like, fix my boat. You suck. Fix my boat. And then he's like, I collect you harvest or you
salvagers.
You salvage ships, I salvage souls. And I'm late with my ship. Why didn't he salvage the ship? In the past, when he killed everyone.
He needs a certain quota, I think he was talking about.
Okay, so he needed more souls.
Yeah, I think he needed more. So I think he was trying to
lure people
into like get more, because like that's another reason why he needed the boat repaired. But like,
I want to know about this business he's in, this demon soul business.
Something with hell. He definitely mentions it. So
I guess he mentions hell. So yeah, that's the whole thing. He's basically like a salvage guy, and he needed their help. But like, does he needs the physical ship? Where is he taking the physical ship?
Maybe there's a gate to hell. So I don't know.
Like it doesn't.
I don't know. This is another thing where I wish that they actually focused more on that to actually have something cool going on. And
like that's
kind of like
that's too big of a concept to throw in the end of your movie.
That's what I mean. I wish that it was like a thing throughout.
Yeah, because then it like a good movie will have you raising questions in a good way. Like again, I'm gonna keep comparing to The Shining because that's what they were trying to do. But The Shining, it's like, hell, did he see that old lady? Is it cabin fever? Did he let himself out of the refrigerator? Like, or was it a ghost? Like, how did that, like, there's things that you can ask and like, this fucking gnat better not be here. Yeah. My house I finally, after months, got rid of all the gnats in my house. And there's
now they're here?
Yeah, they show up here. But this is like a bad movie, so I start asking questions in a bad way where it's like, well, what does he need the physical ship for? And also, he can move things with his mind.
Yeah.
Can he just move the ship with his mind?
I guess because it's sinking, he can't.
Is it too big? Is there a limit? Is there a size? There's so many goddamn questions about this stupid movie. They
should remake this.
It's trying too hard. How hard was it to come up with a spooky ghost on a boat movie? Like, I feel like I could do that. It also wouldn't be very good, but it would make more sense. So then Juliana, she shoots like C4, right?
I thought she hits the trigger.
Yes, yeah, because they're gonna
it's already like.
Yeah, they're gonna blow the ship, and she shoots the harpoon that hits the trigger, which is a lucky fucking shot. And because of how
she's awesome,
she is stunning, brave, smart, and a great shot. And then like because this movie's super schlocky, you can't just kill the bad guy. You need a pipe to fall and shatter his body. And it's all CGI. It looks like shit.
Yeah.
And it blows up. And who finds her, by the way? Oh, the explosion looks awful.
Yeah.
And then before who finds her, the ship starts sinking.
And then all the souls go and are wrapping around, and it's nice, pretty music.
I'm pretty sure that.
But like, there's like people who murdered other people on this ship too. Like going back to the
Yeah, wait a minute. If you're telling me all these people are evil and marked, except for
that's
the little
what
girl,
I mean.
Why are they all going to heaven? And of course, heaven's in the sky.
But like again, going back to like the whole like past life. That's like
I know it's, and I know if I didn't get it.
Oh. Anyway. But like back with the past thing, they show all the passengers being poisoned by all the crew members and stuff like that. Like they're putting like rat poisoning in like the soup. Yeah. Then they shoot all the people in the pool and stuff like that. So like there's people who are like mass murderers on this freaking ship, and now they're going to heaven, I guess.
Which of course heaven's in the sky because these movies are written by 5. It's like when we did End of Days and the devil literally comes out of the ground. And it's like, that is the most, like, 5-year-old thing you could do. Like, heaven's in the sky and hell's in the ground because fire. So, and, like, I get, like, how that could have been a cool-looking scene. I bet the concept art is really pretty, but the CGI is real shitty for it.
And, like, I get it, too. Whatever, like, okay, it's, like, free of, like, the demon grasp, like, the demon hook. The whole thing looks like a hook.
Yeah, and Emily Browning's like, bye!
Yeah.
Bye, girl! And I guess someone finds Juliana
There's a ship.
There's a ship
that comes and sees her.
Okay. Someone finds...
Hey, if they just would have waited a little bit, they could have repaired the ship and that ship would have came and, oh look, he would have had more people. But no, he wanted to be like, I'm gonna yell at you for being a beta cuck and how dare you being that woman and everything else. I'm like, you couldn't wait like, I don't know, a day?
So then...
You could have had everything you wanted, but whatever.
So they find her and then they're putting her into an ambulance. And then... the music kicks on, the heavy metal music, and she sees the gold being brought onto this new ship, and she sees Demon Guy. Okay. Does the Demon Guy also want the gold?
He uses it to lure people into doing the bad things.
Did you look that up?
No.
I feel like that's...
Think about it. Like, he had all those people murder those people for the gold. Remember, they walked into the thing, and then, you know, basically the plan was going to be him and the girl going off with the gold. It's like common sense.
Did you write this fucking movie?
Yes. In 2003.
Again, it's making total sense, and I totally understand it, but, like, as you're watching it, I'm like, what the fuck?
I just piece it together. I don't know.
So yeah, then I'll Stand comes back. I love that that's the song it ends on, is I'll Stand. So yeah, the movie is stupid. You know what?
It's a guilty pleasure.
I will say, obviously the opening scene is the stand. Like, just watch that scene on YouTube and then pretend, like, put on another movie. And just pretend that was the beginning.
You could put it on in the background. Like, if you see it on TV, I would just put it on just to be
like, the funny thing about the beginning of that opening kill is, like, the movie wants you to be afraid of ghosts, but then it's not a ghost scene. I guess maybe it's a demon scene, but you don't know that. But no, the sets are actually really nice for the ship.
Yeah.
They look really nice. The CGI matte paintings and the CG look god awful. They look so bad. They've aged so poorly. They look like a video game almost. Yeah, and look, I don't know. Like, you said it's a guilty pleasure. I liked it as a kid. I feel like I feel like you had to be our age back then.
If you have never seen this before, you're probably gonna hate it.
Yeah, there's like movies that
There's no nostalgia. Like, I have nostalgia for it. Like, I would be like, oh, it's on, kind of like Deep Blue Sea. I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm putting that on.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I'm nostalgic for Deep Blue Sea, but that is not a very good movie.
I love Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like I showed my goddaughter the original Halloween. Okay. And that's a movie that still holds up.
How old is she?
She's like 12 now.
Okay.
I saw that movie when I was 6 or 5. But there's like movies like that like...
Oh, that explains. Oh, you're like, oh, boobs. Nothing else is going on.
Oh, and Halloween, yeah. Like, you can show a kid certain horror movies and they'll still like it. It's like got this like evergreen quality. You show a kid this movie or like a teenager this movie, they're gonna like the first scene and then they're gonna be like boring and turn it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is an interesting film.
There's a lot of things in it that they could have gone like to great places with. It would have been great.
By the way, you can. All right, if you for some reason really want your ghost story to take place on a ship or something, or want a horror
steal an idea from here.
No. I'll recommend something to you. Well, there's Virus, but that's not much better.
Titanic.
Yeah, there's 2 episodes of The X-Files that take place on ships. There's one where Mulder and Scully go to a ship and they start aging rapidly. That's a really good one. There's another one that's in, like, the Bermuda Triangle, and they go, like, Scully gets sent back in time and Mulder's, like, in the present. Or vice versa. I think Mulder's back in time and Scully's in the present. And they're meeting, like, versions of themselves from the 40s. So they meet, like, Skinner's a Nazi in it. And
oh my god.
And that one is, like, a real interesting, like, supernatural at sea. And then I'm thinking, video games, Layers of Fear. Layers of Fear 2 is a ghost story on a ship. And there's a new video game coming out that's basically a sinking ship, like Titanic, but there's also ghosts on it.
What is it?
I forget what it's called, but it looks pretty cool. So there are stuff, like, the idea of a ghost ship is cool. There's other movies that have done it too. I haven't seen them. I don't know if I can recommend them. There's Twilight Zone that did the idea pretty well. I want to check the original ghost ship. I know this isn't a remake, but I want to see the one from the 50s and see if that is a movie that could be remade. But yeah, I'll stand. I'll stand. Anyway, Johanna, did I say your name in the beginning? I did. So I'm glad you finally got to be on Talking About Tapes. The second or third woman we featured in a review, depending on how I release these.
Yay.
It's really a milestone. You don't seem thrilled.
I want to be on rental reviews.
Well, too bad. Blame Justin Silverman. Johanna.
I will.
Johanna, where can we find you? What social do you have, and what other shows and what other shows might you be on? Let me do that again. Don't laugh over it. And what other shows might you be on?
Well, I'm on the Castzilla podcast with you.
Castzilla versus the Pod Monster, please. And we talk about Godzilla movies and Godzilla things. And we were supposed to record a batch tonight, but she said no. So hopefully they're still coming out on time, or else
hiatus.
We're going to be on hiatus.
For real.
But that's supposed to be every Friday. You could download it at the website, or you can watch the YouTube version. More people seem to watch the YouTube version.
I'm also on Twitter, stuff like hearts,
okay.
And I started streaming on Twitch, and that's stuff like games.
Okay. Are you going to quit after 2 weeks like you usually do?
Probably. But I'm on Twitter.
Instagram, is your Instagram public?
Yes. Stuff like hearts.
I'll link in the description. And, yeah. What's a nautical term we can end on?
Hard to starboard?
No,
I'm talking about this turning.
Yo-ho! That's a pirate. That's good. I'm good with pirate.